Hello and welcome back to another episode with Canvas and Craft. I'm your host Lynn. I just wanted to show off here that I did a little bit of different banner for the YouTube channel. I don't know, I kind of got a little tired of the old one, so I put this one up here. So this is the banner now, and I don't know if it's going to change on YouTube or not, or if it takes a while. But I just wanted to show it off. I thought it was cute. There's a cute little artwork thing there. So put that up on there. I just wanted to say that. So I am sorry, but I did put down this black thing here, on my desk because I didn't want the glare. It is all wrinkly. I do apologize about that. I can't really iron it or anything, so I'm sorry it looks all wrinkly. But there's that also. So it's wrinkly. I hope I'm not too blown out here. I'm trying out two different lights, one over here and one over there, so that you can see what I'm doing. I can see what I'm doing. There is going to be a shadow on either side of my hands, and there's really nothing I can do about that. Hopefully it's not too annoying while I'm trying to do this, because I'm not going to buy any other lights. The two lamps that I have work wonderfully for me. So hopefully it's not too blown out. But today we're going to be doing a watercolor, and I'm going to get together here some supplies that we may need, and I'll show them off here in a second. This is a drawing gum. It's from, I believe it's pronounced Ebo. Basically you just put it on there and it stops the watercolor from getting onto the paper so that you can keep a pure white. I'm sure you probably know this. Putting that down here. Next thing we're going to be needing are some various paintbrushes. These are just a couple I grabbed from my stash. I don't know if these ones are the ones I'm going to be using, but I'll put them out here so you can know that that's what we're going to need too. Try to put them in a nice line here so they look nice on the table. You're also going to be needing a pencil. I have it in my hand, I can see that. Because we're going to be needing a pencil, so that you can, trace your printed image or whatever it is you're going to be putting onto um, your piece of paper, your watercolor paper. You're going to be needing some kind of a utensil, and you'll see in a minute that I'm quite, miffed about this because, as you can see, it's a brand new eraser that I put on there, eraser topper on there, and it's already split, and that's very disheartening. But anyways, with watercolor paper and stuff like that, when you're trying to trace on your image, you're going to want to remember not to press down too hard with your pencil because you don't want to create divots for the watercolor and the water to pool up, because it will show up the lines for the remainder of your painting. So you're going to want to be somewhat gentle with that. Another thing you're going to be needing for this project is some kind of graphite paper or some kind of paper. I know there's another kind of paper. I honestly can't remember what it is, but basically it's graphite paper. What I have here is just a piece of tracing paper, and I've got several of them actually. I have several of them, and I just basically just took a pencil, a graphite pencil, and just kind of drew a bunch of lines on there and colored it in, and I just keep reusing it. And then whenever it needs a refresher because it doesn't have enough graphite on it, I just take my pencil and I just kind of like go back over the top of it again, and so I can make it darker. Also going to be maybe using a ruler later on to figure out some things. I don't know yet if I'm going to do it. I actually do later, but we'll get into that. You're also going to need probably a rag for the paint, just in case any spills or for taking out some of the water. Let me clear this off here, and I'll show you what we're doing. This here is what I'm going to be doing. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble, because if I show these two things on here, you're going to know where it's from. I did not, in fact, draw this image. I put the original colored image into Canva and used their app. I believe it was called Sketch It. I could be wrong. Just to get the image, because I mean I can draw it if I want to, but I was just trying to do it real quick because I just wanted to paint. So yes, I know I'm terrible. I should have drawn it out by hand and painted it, but it is a gift from my sister and I didn't want to mess it up, and I barely have time to do things. No excuses, but I did put it into Canva, into Sketch It, and I had that sketch it out for me so I can do what's called a line and wash. But I did cover up those two parts because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube and everything that's going on with YouTube. So I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be a thing. I did research it and said that they're not going to like have a fit with it, but we'll see what happens. Moving on. I'm going to be using this Academy watercolor pad. As you can see here, it's not normal paper like a sketchbook. It's all glued on all of the sides. There's just a little space around the outside of it so that when you're done with your painting, you can take a blade of some kind and cut around it and cut off your finished artwork. And I like this pad of paper, or this watercolor paper, because it is a 100% cotton watercolor paper, which takes the paint and the water and sucks it into the paper, unlike, I believe it's called cellulose paper. I know it sounds funny, but with cellulose paper, it's good. It gets wet and everything, and it does what it does, but it doesn't soak up the paint. It doesn't suck it into the paper. It just sits on top of the paper, which I find very annoying, because I need to blend. I need to put down layers upon layers upon layers so that I can do what I'm going to do with my watercolor. And with cellulose, I hope I'm saying that properly, paper, you can't do that, because as soon as you put down the first layer, you will go to put a second layer over the top of it and you're picking up the first. So it's extremely annoying. So anyways, I found this paper on Amazon. I believe it was like $40. I know it seems like a lot, but if you want, you got to have some really good quality paper if you want to get a good product or a good picture. I did this once for a video a long time ago when I was trying to make YouTube, and it did not work out at all. The paper warped after like the third time of messing with it, you know, after drying and then re-wetting. The paper would just come off of it. It would come up in clumps, and it would just ruin the paper. So it was horrible paper. But this here is, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but it's pure cotton watercolor paper. And here's where I'm talking about how the color and everything sucks into the paper and makes it so much easier for working. So there's the paper. You're also going to be needing some masking tape, because my picture is the picture that I printed off the size that I wanted, because I wanted to put as much of the image onto the paper before I paint it so there's no waste. You're also going to be needing some paper towels or whatever for various reasons, taking the water out of your brush if you have too much water, or I don't know, picking up paint off of your board. And here's, you know, just, or picking up water off of your canvas or your paper. Sometimes it helps to blot things, so you may need that. Here is where I'm showing where there's space where you can put in a knife. Be careful with knives, please, people. I know I'm not your mother, but if you're doing anything with knives, please be careful, not only when you're taking your finished product out of the watercolor pad, but be careful with anything sharp that you're going to be using. It's not worth you know, losing fingers over. Be very careful. Careful? No, not careful. Be very careful when you're pulling and you're trying to cut out your piece of paper. And a simple X-Acto knife would work, but if you're not careful, oh my God, girlfriend, if you're not careful, you can in fact cut the paper below and behind. So just be very mindful of that when you do that. I use something simple as like a butter knife or something that's a little bit, you know, not jagged, but you know, a little bit pointed on one end. That way I'm not cutting anything, and just go around the outside of it and you can take your finished product. Okay, so what we're going to be doing here is taking our gentleman and putting it onto our paper. And I just tack up some basic, just little pieces of masking tape there at the top so that I can keep it down so it's not moving around on me. You're not going to want to like move this graphite or homemade graphite paper around a lot, because as soon as you start trying to like how do you skid it across the paper, you're going to be creating marks. You're going to want to make sure you pick up your graphite paper off of the paper, off the watercolor paper, and then move it around, because if you don't, you're going to have a whole lot of erasing to do. But what you didn't see was me trying to, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice at the moment. Hang on, let me go fix that. Okay, now that that's done, but yeah, I did center this and use the ruler to figure out how much space I wanted above and below. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into actually getting into this little project, yeah, for my sister, because she thought it was a really cool picture, and I agree with her. I should have probably like traced it, or not traced it, but actually drawn it all out and everything, but I just wanted to paint it. I'm not trying to claim that I drew it at all. This is just an image that I got off of a picture. So I didn't actually this is not an original artwork. It's off of something, and I'm not going to say what it's off of. The painting portion of it is going to be my artwork, because it's probably not going to look like the picture, the original picture, which is completely fine. But I'm going to allow us to go through this and watch as she traces this all on and, you know, puts it on there, make sure that it's on there really good, and so that you can see it and nice and dark and everything. And I do apologize that I had to go back and flip through this a little bit, because I wanted to make sure that I could see everything that was nice and dark and everything. So I just wanted to, sorry about that, but I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, right about here, I am going to clean up my hands and clean up any of the graphite in places that I don't want it to be. Because once you paint over it with watercolor, it will in fact be permanent. So any marks that you do not want on your watercolor paper, you are going to want to take off. So I'm going to wash my hands and make sure that they're nice and clean, get off all of the graphite that I don't want on there with an eraser. And then I'm going to be taking this kind of junky paintbrush and this Peebo stuff here, and I'm going to be marking off some places on here that I want to be pure white. So here you'll see me erasing, and I do apologize about the mark or the cut on my arm. I know it looks grotesque. I cleaned my oven and it bit me, so I do apologize about that. I hope it doesn't bother anybody. It kind of was, I didn't really realize I had done it until it was already done, so I do apologize about that. I also take this, don't use your hands to wipe off all of this stuff. I have a paintbrush over here that I'm going to gently move around the eraser etchings there, whatever you want to call it. And I also have this little craft vacuum cleaner, and then I'm going to be trying to get off all of this stuff so that it's not making a mess for everybody. So I do apologize for that too, but I'm going to be trying to very carefully to lift that up off of there. Here I'm just blotting it down and kind of picking it up because I don't want smudges. And I'm also going to be marking this off too with the masking tape, the top and the bottom, in an attempt to keep it clean so that there's enough room for mounting or whatever my sister decides to do with it. I don't exactly 100% think that this is going to hold. I have a feeling it's going to, come through onto behind tape or under the tape, but it's okay. It's just for, trying to keep it clean. And then we're going to use this stuff here and do a little painting and trying to keep some of these. The blue parts are just going to be where I want it to stay white, and then I'll worry about it later. I took a scrap piece of like crappy watercolor paper that I don't particularly care for. I put it underneath my hand just so that I don't put any oils from my skin onto the watercolor paper. Not that I've ever had any problems with it, but I don't want any smudges from the graphite on my hands or anything like that. Okay, and here I think I'm going to leave it at this. I've been at this for about an hour now. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to get up and do a few things while this is drying. I don't know how long it actually takes to dry. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to go do some errands and stuff around the house. Not errands, but I'm going to do some stuff around the house and clean up this stuff. And I'm going to let this dry. And maybe next time when I come back, we can finally get to the fun part and put some color on this. So we got to figure out what colors we want to use, which is going to be fun. I want to get some swatches out here and see what colors of the greens and everything that I want to use and make some labels and figure out my color scheme, which is going to be so much fun. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you had fun. I'll see you next time here on Canvas and Craft. Okay, bye!